I think that it's a very good smokescreen, if you ask me, because we all know that the reason why they were banned in the first place was because they deleted a tweet by the president. And after so much condemnation and backlash, then they had to look for some wiggle room around it, and then they said, okay, you know what, they need to do this and do that, and in the end we're here. But for a lot of us that predicted it, we said that it was always going to come back on around this time, because we know that it is an effective tool for campaigning, and we know that the campaign window for 2023 is already open as we know it. So yes, it is quite timely for that occasion, but for me that is all it is, a tool for campaigns and for them to be able to reach the audience that they want to reach, irrespective of whatever reasons they give us as the public reason that they want it back in Nigeria, or to also have access to it.
You know, I spoke with an analyst on the news at 7 who was amazed at the federal government's reaction in dealing with this issue, and he was saying that perhaps if government would just, you know, deal with several other issues the way it was organized and resolute in its you know, its decision about Twitter, perhaps things will get better. But let's talk about the question of whether or not government is ready to face the reality of you know, social media texts like this.
Well, I'm not sure they're ready to face it. But this is it. The fact remains that a lot of countries in the world, in fact, everywhere in the world, everyone is trying to see how they can curb fake news. That's a huge menace for everyone. And speaking of fake news, I mean, we've also had people in this current administration to be accused and of the same thing. So the question is, how do we then balance it? A lot of us have always campaigned for responsible use of social media, because at the end it is a tool, and the tool could either be used for good or could be used for evil. Yeah. So yes, there are a lot of conversations around how we can have a lot more responsible use of social media around the world.
And you agree that Twitter has a lot more to do, not just Twitter, but many other social media platforms, given the very sad incidents and tales that we've learned in time past?
Yes, of course. They all have a role to play. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all the popular social media networks, they all have a role to play. They all have to be held accountable for a lot of things that happen on their platforms. And of course, a lot of them spend a lot of money having a lot of people vet different content that features on their various platforms. But they can only do so much, because in the end, having to say that every tweet that goes through their platform, their service, you need to have a human being physically vet it. It could, some things will fall through the cracks, and that is not holding brief for anyone or any platform. We're just stating the realities. But that being said, a lot of work is being done from all those platforms to see that fake news and all these other harmful content are not featured on their platforms.
How optimistic are you about what appears to be the marriage of convenience between Twitter and the federal government? Do you foresee that it will last?
Well, I believe that as long as Twitter adheres to the agreed conditions according to the federal government, yes, I think that it will last. But where we'll be going from there is something I'm not very sure of.
How do you mean?
Pardon?
I said, how do you mean?
Well, now you're saying that you need to have a country representative, and we all know how, permit me to use the word whimsical, the government could be in terms of how they react to different issues. And then, for example, they put a call through to the country representative and say that this tweet and this tweet and this tweet, you want them deleted. And he says that, well, whomever it is that's country representative says they don't want it deleted. So what then happens? Because I'm very particular about them insisting on having a country representative. That means they want to have a face for the organization, for the brand. It means they want to have someone they will be able to hold accountable. Now, being able to hold that person accountable could come in various forms. So yes, that is what I'm very much interested in seeing, how that would affect the relationship either positively or negatively.
Power, they say, is nothing without control. There's a thin line between freedom of expression, and there's also a point where you take your freedom to a point where it hurts the other people, or even a matter of, you know, national security concerns. How do you think we begin to draw the lines between young Nigerians wanting a platform to express themselves and then doing it way too much that it begins to hurt the nation?
Well, even private individuals on Twitter, because I'm quite active on Twitter, you could always see there are a lot of people who are even dedicated to written out fake news. I mean, you have people put out content out there. I have a lot of people who come out, go verify it, and come out and say that, you know what, this is fake, disregard this, and then A lot of them go ahead to report such tweets. So yes, there's a lot of accountability and responsibility being taken from private individuals with respect to that.
Public affairs analyst Dipo Iwole, thank you for talking to us tonight.
Thank you for having me.